Hello everyone. Welcome to the solution of LeetCode problem 380 named Insert Delete Get Random in Big O of N time. Here we have to implement the randomized set class where randomized set constructor initialize the randomized set object, and we have to implement three of the functions. The first function is insert. We are taking val as a parameter. And here we have to insert an element which is value into the set if the value is not presented in the set yet. Then we have to return true if the item was not present. Otherwise, we have to return false. Now here, in the remove method, we have to remove a specific value from the set. Now here, we have to remove the item value from the set if the value is presented. Now, we have to return true if the item was present. Otherwise, we have to simply return false. Now, the most complex part is to implement the GetRandom method. Here, we have to return a random element from the current set of elements. It is guaranteed that there at least one element exists when this method is called. Now, each element must have the same probability of being returned. Now here, we have to implement these three classes or these three functions with on average of big O of 1 time complexity. I hope you understood the problem statement. Now let's move on to the algorithm. Now, we have to understand the property of set very well to solve this problem. We know that set contains only the unique element. Suppose we have several elements which is 1, 2, 2 and 3. Now, if I put all of this element into the set will only contain the element 1, 2 and 3 because this element 2 is repetitive, but set only contains the unique element. Now, we have to implement three of the functions. At first, we have to implement the insert function. So, insert function is basically very simple. Suppose we are given an integer, let's say it is 5. Okay. Now, if we insert this element into the set, we have to simply put this element into the set. Here, these operations will take roughly big O of 1 time complexity. Now, the second operation is we have to implement the remove function. Here, suppose currently our set has several elements, which is let's say 1, 2, 5, and 4, and so on. Now, we want to remove this element 5 from our set. So how can we do it? In C++, we can simply use the erase method, and if we perform the erase method on a specific value, let's say it is 5, then this corresponding element is removed from the set. So here, the second function is implemented by this way. Now, we have to implement the third method, which is GetRandom. So here, let's assume our set has several elements, which is 1, 2, 4, and 5, and so on. Now, we want to get the random element from the set. That means, what is the nature of the random? That means if I apply the random mechanism, in those kind of cases, the return may be 1, or the random method can return 2, or it can return 4, or it can return 5. We don't know what this function is returning. That's why the name of this function is the GetRandom. That means we have to take the random element from the set. So here, the algorithm is pretty simple. We can get any random element by simply performing the modulus operation between the size of the set or to any other element. Anyways, I am explaining these three mechanisms in detail in the code in the next section. So now let's move on to the code. The code is pretty simple. At first, we are given a set and we are given a class or the constructor. It is a randomized set. Now we have to perform the insert operation. Here, according to the problem statement, we have to check whether our current element we want to insert is presented on the set or not. If our current element is presented on the set, that means we don't have to insert this current element into the set anymore. In this case, we have to return false. Otherwise, if our current element is not presented in the set, in those kind of cases, we have to insert this current element into the set and we have to return true. Now, for this remove mechanism, we have to check whether this value is presented in the set or not, or the tangible removing value is presented in the set or not. So if the value is presented on the set, that means we can remove this value. Here, we are simply applying the erase method. And as we able to remove this particular value, in this case, we have to return true. Otherwise, if the corresponding value is not presented, we have to return false. Now, the most complex part is the GetRandom. Here, we have to find the random element by using big O of 1 time complexity. So here we can simply use the C++ pointers. This asterisk sign denotes the pointer and dot next. Now we have to apply the random method, which is a built-in C++ method, and we have to make modulus with this random method with the size of the set and perform this operation from the beginning of the set. And this code or this line of code every time will return a random integer from the set. And all of the operation here we have mentioned runs in big O of 1 time complexity. I hope you understood the code. Thank you everyone for watching this video. We will get back soon with another LeetCode solution.